Good morning. This morning, I'd like to welcome, Diakonos Solutions would like to welcome Dr. Divya Jaitly from Pune, India. Diakonos Solutions has honored Dr. Divya and recognizes her work both in the business world and the charitable world by honoring her by naming a scholarship in her honor this year. This is something new that Diakonos Solutions has done. She was nominated by Kairos Time Management, KMS Time, to receive this award. And so we are going to have a conversation this morning with her instead of just a regular written conversation or a written interview. I wanted to have Dr. Divya tell us her story in her own words. I've had several conversations with her, and she is someone that the Diakonos Solutions community needs to meet. So good morning, Dr. Well, this is the difference. So you can see it is dark out. It is early morning for me. It is late afternoon for her in India. There's a 9.5-hour time change that we have gotten used to in our conversations. So good afternoon, Dr. Divya. I'm just going to open it up. If you would like to tell us a little bit about yourself. I completely blew through your company. So if you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll start with some questions.
Sure. Thank you, Sue. Firstly, this is a very great opportunity and also a humbling one. It is the first time that somebody in the United States of America has found me deserving enough to be creating this entire scholarship in my name, my honor, as well as awarding me with this huge felicitation. So thank you so much. It means a lot, and I'm overwhelmed in more than one way. Also, I think I'll take this opportunity before I deep dive into sharing my story of thanking Kairos Time Management Solutions. I think they've made me a better person in managing my time, and I will continue to be with them and seek a better future for myself by being more efficacious with my time management. So it's great to team up with you. And when you said that this is a heart-to-heart conversation, and let's just share my story, how we can probably inspire or motivate people from around the world, not just women, I just grabbed the opportunity. So a quick insight into what I do for those of you who are probably hearing me or seeing me for the first time. I'm the founder and managing director of Forethought Corporate Communications. We are a full service communications agency, as well as I do learning and development with the Advanced Learning Institute. I am a motivational speaker, and I also am the only woman anchor, Indian woman anchor, who has represented Olympics twice for a national television. I've hosted an entire English Premier League football season on ESPN India, so that's all for the football fans out there. I have hosted the International Film Festival of India. I've had the honor of being a former chairperson at the Confederation of Indian Industry, especially the Indian Women Network. And currently, I am in the Management Council at the All India Management Association of India, where they seek a lot of insights to guide the young minds and to shape a lot of young women minds. Having said that, the philanthropic side of me, I like to create a lot of social impact, and I drive and I spearhead an NGO, a non-profit organization in India called Vividha, which in English means distinct. And I've been driving this initiative since 20 years now. I've grown up spending my birthdays with a lot of orphans. My parents made sure that I had that feeling of gratitude and gratefulness with what we have in our life just by the virtue of the socio-economic strata that we get born in. And I have always believed in giving back, professionally or personally. And I think that's what is the goodwill that keeps coming back in forms of people like you, Dave, and so many others who have helped me reach so far.
That's amazing. Just a note to the American audience: football is there's American football, and then there's
Soccer.
soccer. So
Yeah.
just, but you have really truly been a pioneer in so many ways, and I knew that, but I didn't know the depth. That's just incredible. One of the things that we connected on immediately was that I recently received my doctorate, and you also are a doctor. And so I wanted to ask you, because the scholarship is for women pursuing their doctorates in ministry. Um, what is what is your doctorate in, and how did you decide to pursue a doctorate?
So I'm a doctorate in organizational leadership that also enables me to be a certified leadership coach in India. I've been certified by Harvard and Wharton in Leaders of Learning program and strategic business management. Uh, I am, driven with a hunger of learning and being a better version of myself always. And I remember when I wanted to, achieve my doctorate, it was to drive a fact that I am breaking a lot of glass ceilings. So interesting thing, I was also crowned as Miss India finalist. It's a national. I've been a model back in the day, so so I know it's just been all over the place. So I was soon after school. I was studying to be an engineer, and I couldn't complete engineering because I became a Miss India finalist, and modeling offers came pouring my way. For an Indian woman, I'm pretty tall. I'm about 6 feet, and I've walked the ramp nationally and internationally. And I had to switch my credits of engineering to a regular college degree, which I could cope with my work, because as a model, you have grueling schedules and you have to be there on time, and fashion shows in India and abroad. And when I started doing that, and in about a decade later, I established my own first company. So this is my third company. I've had two successful exits in the past. But I realized that every time I went into a conference room or a boardroom, my beauty title or my glamour title really preceded me. So it was very difficult for me to break the unconscious bias that, hey, I have substance. And just because I've been a Miss India finalist or, a model doesn't make me dumb. Sadly, that's a stereotype that people, put you in. And therefore, I sought a little guidance with my mother, and she has been an academician. And she said, you will constantly have to study, even if you don't go to Ivy League colleges, keep educating yourself. And that's exactly what I did. I did my MBA marketing. I did a diploma in human rights, the law diploma in that. And then I said, okay, I need to get a doctorate. And by the time I was already an entrepreneur, so I was understanding the nuances of leadership. And I was also understanding that as a woman, through your personal life crisis that all women around the world go through, especially the dilemma between career and family and so on and so forth, I was realizing more and more that leadership skills is a gift that you can give to yourself as a woman. Doesn't matter if you are an entrepreneur or in the C suite, they are just a set of skills that you need to have within yourself to hold your own, to draw boundaries, even in personal life. So I think that emotion drove me, as well as I wanted to break the barriers. And the moment I achieved a prefix of a salutation of doctor, people are so shallow. The moment they hear Dr. Divya Jaitly, suddenly my Miss India finalist doesn't overpower, and they hear what I have to say when I enter the boardroom. So I think that's what kind of drove me. And wherever I go today, I tell them, if you are from the media, entertainment, or glamour industry, it doesn't matter. You can make the switch as long as you have the set of transferable skills. And one of them is leadership. You have to be the CEO of your own life first before you start thinking you need to have a team. So if you can drive yourself as a team because you're a set of mixed skills and mixed energies and mixed patterns, if you can do that, then of course sky's the limit, and I think you can shatter any glass ceiling that comes your way.
So you've already my next question is, because you've just said what a lot of women who have achieved doctorates say, that all the work that they've done previously, it just becomes elevated once they have doctor in front of their name, that people look at them differently. So can you see a really distinct before and after when you know, because obviously you are a hard worker. I mean, obviously you do. I mean, you know, so to me, I just, it's amazing that, that, I mean, maybe, can you tell us just a little bit about that, the before and after? And you've hinted to that. So
yes, no, I think so. I have seen a huge difference in the way people react to me. Now, sadly, with digitization, perception has become reality. Now, the perception is the moment they read my resume or a profile or even my LinkedIn update before they meet me in any meeting, whether I'm going to their office or they are coming to mine, they suddenly start with a certain respect in their eyes. Otherwise, before, especially if I was dealing with men, they would be like, "Oh my God, they couldn't go beyond this decent looking face," and they would say, "Oh my God, she's a Miss India finalist. I'm sitting in a company, and she has been on TV and she's a presenter." So those parts of my profile and media personality would overpower every content that I had to put out there. But today they pay focus because it gives me leverage to set agenda of a meeting before I go in. It gives me leverage to even put the timestamp there saying that, listen, I only have so much time for our talk today. Mm-hmm. And they don't debate it. They don't push my boundaries anymore. Mm. And let me tell all the audience who are hearing us that sadly, that's not how it should be.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I mean, when we talk about an inclusive society, I don't know how is it there in US, but as an inclusive society, it doesn't matter how educated you are or uneducated, but your substance should come through and people should give you that opportunity. But in India, I had to kind of had a lot of prefixes and my wall of fame, as you can see behind, for people to start taking me seriously.
No, I would say that obviously there are a lot of differences and not so many differences all at the same time. So yeah, that's, and that is honestly, that's why I wanted to pursue my doctorate, because all of the work I did prior to my doctorate was not taken as seriously until I achieved my doctorate. And so you're right. I love your line of being CEO of your own life and leading yourself first, because my doctorate is in leadership and spiritual formation, which is interesting for a minister. That is not a usual doctorate, but that was what we were taught. You need to self-lead before you lead others. So it's interesting, the connection. Yes. Yeah. All right. So I did not realize that Tali and Forethought Corporate Communications were your third business enterprise. Do you want to tell us about the first two, or you just want to jump into Forethought Corporate Communications and
no, I'd love to share about the first one.
Okay.
So, I was doing my MBA marketing, and in the books of my MBA marketing, we were taught about Kaizen philosophy of life. It's a Japanese philosophy. Mm-hmm. And it meant, Kaizen means continuous improvement. Mm-hmm. And that just stuck with me because I mean, at the cost of sounding conceited, I think I would like to consider myself as an epitome of that philosophy, because I'm leading by example here, where I'm continuously improving.
Mhm.
And so when I found that, that was my first name of the company. So my first company was called Kaizen Talent Management in India. And
Oh.
I was a pioneer in bringing event management education, formalized education in the country. So I was already an event marketing consultant all through for about 7, 8 years prior to that, along with my modeling career. And I had also started presenting as a freelancer, live events, as well as some TV shows. So when I found this name, Kaizen Talent Management, I said, what is it that I can do where I can capitalize on my experience so far? It doesn't make sense to start a business in something that is completely new, and my 7, 8 years of experience, even if it was freelance, would have gone to waste. So I started researching on event management education. And at that point in time, I'm talking about 2008, it was, slated to be the sunrise industry. There were going to be billion-dollar growth across the world, so on and so forth. And what I did was I mapped a journey, and you don't have the corporate appraisal hierarchy system there. So it's a very fast track career that youngsters get. You get to work with celebrities, and therefore the young generation was getting very attracted to it. But I said, I don't want to give out certifications, because what value is it if I can't give them a lifelong career and a piece of paper that brings in some resume weightage? So I went to the University Grants Commission, certified university in India. About 5 of them I approached. I presented my case and I said, we have so many formal degrees. Why can't we have event management degree? And I'm willing to drive the curriculum. It was a grueling process back then, but then finally one university believed in us, and they took the leap of faith with me, and I started giving out a bachelor's degree in event management.
Wow.
And it makes me proud because today, all the kids who passed out during that time, I gave them guaranteed placements. I gifted them careers. Today they are like all senior people. So when I'm invited as a speaker somewhere, I land up bumping into one of them and they touch my feet and make me feel like so old in respect and honor. So it's really funny. But that really helped me understand that I enjoy, and my passion is learning and development. So I enjoy education. I enjoy the fact that we can empower people with awareness building. And if we want to really set our heart in gifting people life, careers, whatever you want to do, or giving back, then you have to give it in a solid way, not like half-hearted way. Like around the world today, I see a lot of institutions come up and they say, we'll certify you. But I always ask them, what is your standing?
Mm.
If a child is investing in coming to you for therapy, or you better have those licenses, or you better have that standing where the child tomorrow, after investing 6 months, 1 year, 3 years, can go back and say, hey, you know what, I'm certified from there, or I have a degree from there. And that holds some stability and grounding and support to build his or her career. So I was committed to that. I said, I don't want certification. I really want to give them a solid career. And that brought me to my second company, which was foreign education consulting. So it went hand in hand. We did IELTS coaching, which is important for UK. We took a franchisee of a foreign education consulting company for a big region, the national capital, that is Delhi in India, and where we had tie-ups with about 300 universities and colleges all around the world. So it was our consulting agency that would help students who aspire to go and study abroad. So we had students going to UK, to the US, to New Zealand, and to help them, guide them, counsel them, show them a career roadmap, navigate them with their English speaking skills end to end, basically, until they reach there. They came back with that degree, and a lot of them got settled abroad. Some of them came back, so on and so forth. And then I came to Forethought Corporate Communications, where Today, we do a lot of not just communications, but also brand solutions. So we do a lot of digital marketing services for many brands around the world, not just big companies, but also we work with many startups. And we make sure that we differentiate ourselves because of the content, because content is what people struggle with most of the times. Today, you have enough online tools which can make you a fancy creative, but putting the right content for the right person there is time intensive and also creativity involving. So that's, I'm very passionate about that, and I enjoy helping people bring build up their logos, their brands from ground up, and when they get compliments, it's a pleasure.
Yeah. It is amazing to hear your story.
Thank you.
It's just amazing. I mean, and it all builds, one builds on the other. It's just a almost an evolution of businesses to where you are now, but how it's very affirming to me as a new startup, roughly 2 years into a nonprofit, and doing something that is very unique, targeting women in ministry. It's not a huge market, but your discussion with your first business and how you said we need to stand, it needs to mean something. And so that is so affirming to me, because I knew right away I wanted to give scholarships because it's so difficult for women pursuing doctorates of ministry to get funding. And so that's, and the fact that this is what my nonprofit is, that is very affirming to me. So thank you. I hope other women who are starting out or building dreams hear what Dr. Divya is saying and take that to heart, to keep working, keep working, keep doing it. But to stand in what you know and offer profound value for what you do. Be your expert in your field and offer profound value. So
I'd like to add to that it's, when I did my first TEDx talk in India, one of the inner dimensions of leadership that I emphasized on, Sue, was connected thinking. And I'd like to advise all the women who would be watching this that always see how you can connect the dots. Don't let any experience go to waste. A lot of women come to me and they're like, oh, you know what? I've been doing PR, but now, I want to switch to designing. And I'm like, build a story that can be celebrated. It's fine you want to do designing and you've been doing PR, but then you need to connect the dots. And if you cannot connect the dots, then you are like I don't know if American audience is aware of a carom board. A carom board, you have a striker. It's a board game.
Oh.
And you have a striker, and the striker goes and hits different round coins on the board. Some of them might be familiar who are listening to me right now. But if you go random at play, then you are just doing zigzag in your life, right? Or maybe a boomerang. I mean, you have to see the direction that you want to throw it in. Even if you don't see it 100%, my request to everybody is throw it in a direction which is 60%. As long as you're above half, you land somewhere.
Yeah. So that brings me to the next question I have for you. You have been investing in women-owned businesses. And so it's, I don't know if the word micro investing or sponsoring, can you tell us about that? Because you are, again, really living what you say you do in every aspect of your life.
Right. So this happened during the pandemic, actually. Just before the pandemic, I had a business partner who decided to pursue his own vision and left us quite in lurch halfway through a lot of projects. But while he exited, I made sure that I consolidated the company. We went lean, we downsized our team. And it was a wise thing to do if I look back today, and my instinct supported me because the pandemic in India, at least, lasted for clearly 2 years.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we had infrastructure and we had rentals, but we cut our losses at the same time at a very early time when we were just walking into the pandemic. And then I realized that if I wanted to expand my capabilities, because a lot of overseas clients were looking at, my existing clients were looking at helping us get our help in branding, digital marketing, and branding. And I saw those signs because uh, digital knowledge kind of augmented during the pandemic. Everybody was home, the digitization just sprung up. I mean, prior to the pandemic, I had to convince people about why a LinkedIn profile and branding is important. The pandemic did that. It just gave me that gift. I didn't have to educate people anymore. And people just came back to me saying, "Hey, Divya, we remember you used to say that, and we want to build a profile like yours, and we want to do this." And I'm like, okay, now if I'm getting business, why would I let it go? So how do I fix that? And that's when I was already working with my marketing agency, and she was in a step zone. She was already taking mentoring and a lot of advice from me of how to run her startup. And I've known her from before, off and on through industry connects. And that's when I said, "Hey, you know what? Do you need a push? And I can really elevate your growth." So she said she just loved out on the opportunity. So I said, "You know what? We'll do part equity and part strategic mentorship when it comes to, continuing mentoring for you how to drive business. And while you continue doing your business, there would be some of my clients, very premium customers that I would bring, and then you drive their business as well. But my clients, the entire expectation setting, the entire content management is something which I'm going to advise in because I would understand them better." And we have a great understanding. It's been wonderful journey with her. And she has confessed at a very recent business board meet. She confessed to all the other people who were wanting to invest in her company that just in 2 years with Dr. Divya's presence, I've grown 63%. And I said that would be like, that's a great compliment.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm happy that I could give back, although that really made me wonder how much is my growth, which is not as much as hers. But that's how it works, right? Everybody needs a mentor, a counselor. And just earlier today, I was thinking, oh my God, I also need a mentor, and I need to find a mentor who can also help me kind of go to the next level. So that's how it just went one thing after another. And I think that opened up new revenue streams for my company. That opened up new revenue streams for Neha's company. That's my mentee and partner. And it was a win-win for both of us. And that has encouraged me to look at more business ventures only from women entrepreneurs. And I'm hoping that in future I should be able to support more women entrepreneurs.
That's amazing. And I've met Neha, and I love I love her. I love what she does. I guess I think the better word is, not only do I really like her, I admire and respect her. I respect the work that she does. And especially with the time change. I mean, there are times that we've said, you need to go to bed. You need to, like doing the math, and you're up in the middle of the night doing this. Stop, go to bed. But to have someone, again, going back to the scholarships, what we're finding is women are saying, and I'm not saying, they're $500 scholarships. So, but advanced education is expensive, but women are saying that someone reading about my work and encouraging me in this way is it multiplies the money. It's not just the money; it's that someone believes in me, and so you've partnered with Neha, but you believed in her and what she could do, and I think that's the other takeaway that we need. That it doesn't have to always be big things, but it's just the encouragement that is so important as women pursue things. That you're right, that your image of the 60%, a lot of women go in, they're like, I'm not sure if I can do this. And that 60%, just go 60% in that direction. And then others of us come behind and encourage and support and push and to see the success. Oh,
Absolutely. And I think the belief and the leap of faith goes both ways, right? And a lot of people that I speak to, they say, Divya, you've burnt your fingers with partnership, and yet you jump into it. And I tell them, well, that's the only way, right? I mean, either I can fight the battle alone, or every time I can probably be wise to find a probable partner who might just see it through with me till the end. And I tell everybody in my friends that business partnership is like a marriage. You have to let go of the battle sometimes between two people. You have to be more patient. And I think I would like to be modest enough to also share that I have learned a lot from Neha. I would call it reverse mentoring. And I think a lot of women out there should take advantage of learning from the younger generation, from the people who are probably getting into startups today, because they are starting their companies in a very different way. They understand technology more than all of us. So it's been a learning curve for me as well. And for me, I've always believed whatever you do, even if it means making a cup of coffee, making a cup of tea, give it your 200%, because what you think and how you're feeling in that moment is going to get passed down into that. So that just holds true for everything that you do in life.
All right. So we've talked about education, we've talked about your business, but something that I didn't know when I first met you is about your NGO and the fact that you've been doing this for so long. So can you share? I didn't. You said it's distinct. It's called distinct in English. So can you share a little bit more about your NGO and how you started it and just what you do with it? And
Sure.
Yeah.
So that is the non-glamorous part of my life, and I don't show it around on social media much, but it's a family legacy which I'm carrying forward. My aunt, that's my dad's sister, real sister, is the one who has dedicated her life to this NGO. She is a very awarded personality in the non-profit zone in India. She's represented some of the biggest women empowerment issues in the country, from rape cases to murders to people throwing acid on somebody's face. And I think amongst all the younger generation and cousins, it impacted me a lot. Also because I think I come with a little more compassionate upbringing. My mom made sure that I give back in whatever little ways. You don't have to do big contributions. So I remember a time when I just started my company, the first one, Kaizen Talent Management, and I could hear my parents talking in the background about how she's struggling with funding and she's going to have to shut her NGO. And my dad didn't sound very good about it. And he's like, I've been supporting her, but I don't know what to do. And I just interfered and I said, sorry, I've been eavesdropping on your conversation and what's happening? And you tell me what's happening. So they told me that, it's her baby. She didn't get married. She didn't have kids. She just works for women empowerment at the grassroots level. She's not fancy. And she works a lot for the marginalized community, especially. And then I asked them, I said, what happened? So they said, she's falling short of funds. Now, why are you falling short of funds? I mean, there are enough NGOs who are making a lot of money and really not doing any good. So I looked at her, I researched, and I said, I feel that as a younger generation, I feel passionately about this and I should do something about it. So I just took it upon myself. At that point in time, I had a little bit of saving in a fixed deposit and I took it out and I said, let's just give her this and, I'll see what I can do and let me see. And then I started getting inducted into it. And then I went through some personal life trauma where I got involved in a relationship sorry audience, with an American guy, but it turned out to be an abusive relationship. And it was a wake-up call for me where I said, if a very empowered and educated woman like me can go through abusive relationship, I can only imagine what women who are not so aware go through. And that's when I started becoming, my passions went deeper. I started getting more connected to it. And I started getting involved more and more in the annual participation. And today I'm the vice president for that trust. And just like you're launching scholarships, we do a lot of scholarships here. What we essentially do is we drive publications, we set up resource centers in the rural parts of the country. For us, we truly believe that the only way to bring empowerment in a woman is by education and awareness. So we work a lot with child and children from marginalized communities, because in India, as you know, we are very overpopulated. And sadly, women are not sent to schools. Now, the private schools don't want to take the below poverty line audience in their school. So everything is a battle. So we make sure that post that they cannot afford tuition. So they cannot afford a tiffin box. They go to school. So what we do, we try and seek support where for 1 year you can gift for a very nominal sum a school going kit to a young girl whom we have convinced to be educated till a certain age. And we've seen so many girls who actually have achieved careers. There was one girl who was so brilliant with her education in the first year of college. She couldn't afford, and her father was insisting for her to get married and have kids. And so small little battles, and we try and support. On the other hand, in police stations, in city, we call it the pink city. It's Jaipur, Rajasthan. We run 5 counseling centers in 5 police stations where women in India are very inhibited to report an abuse. And I feel strongly and passionately about it because they need to have some counseling center there who can tell them that, okay, these are the laws, this is what can be done. And if you want to lodge a complaint, you must stand by it. And what would be the process? How grueling would it be? So we try and walk them through, and we've seen a lot of success where women have started coming forward. Because until they come forward, we really cannot go into their domestic abuse and violence and help them out. And I'm guessing that's an issue world over. I'm pretty sure, Sue, that you are there to help so many women, but the first call or the first cry has to come for help has to come from them.
Yes. And having walked with women and young men who have been sexually abused, it's difficult. And so for women, no matter where they are, to come forward is hugely courageous. So to be able to have a system to walk with them and support them through that, because they're going against their family and their community. And so that is so important to not be silent.
Yes, and they are also going against the norms of society, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'd like to admit to the audience that for all the success that I enjoy in my life, I've had enough personal trauma where I am divorced. And society has actually crucified me in many ways, especially when I was a single woman and I didn't find my current husband. But this is an opportunity where I would like to share that if I can make it, so can each one of the women who are watching me right now. And if I can make it in a developing economy and in a third world country like India, I mean, if you're in the US or in a developed economy, trust me, it's easier to navigate the system. All you need to do is, like I call it, create allies. Create allies for yourself. Uh, it could be your friend, it could be a therapist, it could be a minister like you. So it could be in different forms. Don't let society's judgment hamper you down.
Yeah.
And always remember that once you hit the bottom in your life, the only way you can go is to the top. So that one little push where you need to inspire yourself to start moving forward. You take one step. There are many people like Sue and me to grab your hand and pull you out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But you need to take that one step. I've been with a lot of women and their traumas, and through the NGO, we tried our best to pull them out of the misery, but we couldn't.
Yeah.
And for all the power and the connects and the strength that I bring in my character, it's a huge failure to me where I couldn't move that woman out of the mess.
Mm-hmm.
And it has consequences, right?
Mm-hmm. It does.
And some of them just chose that way. So then I realized that it was a lot of time invested, where I think I could have devoted that much time to somebody who was yearning for help. And that's, but I keep motivating women that reach out for help. It's okay. Don't make it an ego issue. Don't play the victim card until the last breath. Keep fighting. Somebody might just hear.
Yeah. I think the phrase that you used earlier in business with your partnership, that you had burnt fingers with business partners. I think that's something also in the charitable world, that sometimes we get burnt fingers.
You do.
And not to harden our hearts, but to keep reaching out, because the success stories are so powerful. They're just, and it's important. It's important that, because we, as hard as we try, we can't do everything for everyone. So to be able to, for that one person, for that one woman, to change her life, and then you change generations from that, because they don't go back. They don't go back. They go forward. So
Absolutely. And I think that's, like in India, there are so many laws, and it's very important at grassroots level for us to tell them the laws that are favoring women. Sadly, our education system also doesn't inform us. These are life skills. I don't know how is it in the US. I mean, do kids get educated about what are the laws in the country for men and women?
I would say yes and no. And I don't know if it's the structure that the infrastructure is set up so that laws are in that those laws are enacted more or fairly. So there's not a teaching per se, but yet you can find that, laws, even if you have a law that says, boys and girls are going to be treated equally, you can still find that just because you have the law doesn't mean that it happens. And so I think that's human, that's the human condition. So there's still inequality despite laws. And so, yeah, that's,
True.
yeah.
And I think that awareness just helps you beat a lot of circumstances, or at least take a leap of faith.
Mm-hmm.
So it's still at nascent stage in India, but some women are taking it the wrong advantage about it as well. So it takes, both sides of a coin. But then I think for every woman in need, somebody like me is there, and for every woman who's abusing the system, again, somebody like me is there, because I don't shy away with my opinions, and I feel it's important also as an empowered woman to say wrong when it's wrong. Uh, I feel a lot of people feel that empowered women is only about success, but it's not a success story. I think empowered women also is about drawing your boundaries and calling a spade when you have to, whether in personal or professional relationship. And God has blessed us with an instinct that we can really harness and leverage. And I leverage on it big time. So
Yeah. All right. So as we come to our, this has been such an amazing conversation. I cannot wait to share this with the audience. But as we come to our close, you've touched on so many points. So what would be your advice to women pursuing their dreams?
wow. And I would summarize it in 3 C's.
Okay.
Yes. I'm going to say that be clear, be concise, and be confident. And if you make these 3 C's the foundation of your personality, whether you're writing an email, whether you're speaking to somebody, if you're clarity, the choice of right words at the right time, especially as women, we have to mean what we say. We have to be concise. A lot of women are driven with emotional conversations, especially if you're having a tough time. But limit your emotions from your communication. And communication, I'd like to tell everybody that we do more non-verbal communication than verbal communication. So please be aware of building your non-verbal as strongly as your verbal. So be clear, be concise, and be confident. And confidence is not a band-aid that you can put. Confidence will come from substance. Now, how can you get substance? By learning and educating. Doesn't matter if you get a degree, you don't get a degree, but there's enough online today to learn, rather than spending hours on Facebook and Instagram. Just go on a site like edX, punch in a self-learning course, go to YouTube, watch a motivational video. So what you choose with the power of digitization is in your hands. And the moment you're strong with your content, substance, whatever you may call it, you will be more confident.
You have summed up the whole conversation in the 3 C's.
Did I steal your thunder?
No, not at all. It just goes right back to the beginning. We've looped right back to the beginning of education, invest self-leadership, invest in yourself, confidence is not something that you put on. Some confidence is something that comes from the inside out. And so the investing in yourself, knowing yourself, developing your skills. I don't want to say stay in your lane, but the developing, don't do something that you're not equipped to do. And then equip yourself to the best of your ability and keep reaching. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Dr. Divya, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your story. Thank you for continuing to encourage women in India and around the world. You are truly an inspiration, and I can't be more proud to say that you are our first named scholarship honoree. So thank you so much. I look forward to continuing the conversation with you. This is just, I think, a down payment. And so thank you. And we wish you the best with your businesses, with your mentorship, and with your NGO.
It's been a privilege, Susan, and thank you so much for making me a part of this. My full, wholehearted support to Diakonos Solutions, and to all those of you out there. Just take the first step forward, and Sue and I will be there to help you. So they can reach out to me by writing into you. Thank you so much again, Sue.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.